Hello everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. Today I am here in front of you with one more video, and this video is something related to the field system of a synchronous machine. In this video, I will try my best to teach you the design of a field system adopted in case of a synchronous machine, on which factors this field system dependent. We are calculating the height of the pole, we are calculating the width of the pole, and a small derivation in which you are dealing about the height and the width of the pole. Before discussing about the field system in case of a synchronous machine, you must all know what do you mean by this field system. As we all know, in case of a machine, whether it is a generator or whether it is a motor, the machine is having two types of windings. One is called as the field winding and another is called as the armature winding. The armature winding is the winding which are enclosed in the armature, and the field winding is the winding which are enclosed in case of a poles. So if the field winding is in series with the armature winding, then the machine is called as series machine. If the field winding is connected in a parallel with the armature winding, then it is called as the shunt machine. And if the field winding is in series as well as in parallel with the armature winding, then the machine is called as the compound machine. So depending upon the generator or a motor, the machine will be a DC generator or a DC motor, and also we have the same cheese applicable in case of AC machines also. Now in the previous video, we have discussed about the main dimensions, how we can calculate D and L. We are discussing about armature winding, that how the armature conductors can be calculated, armature slots can be calculated, conductors per slot can be calculated. After that, we are dealing with the length of air gap, on which factors this length of air gap dependent. We are also discussing about the armature mmf per pole. So all these are discussed in case of a synchronous machine, and now in this video we will discuss about the field system design, how the field system design can be employed in case of a synchronous machine. So if you talk about the design of a synchronous machine, we are design of field system, and here we are using a salient pole rotor. Now for designing the field system, there are 2 to 3 main things. That is, number one will be the axial length, next will be the width of the pole, and third will be the height of the pole. So axial length, height of the pole, and the width of the pole are basically the main factors on which this field system depended. That we'll discuss one by one. Your number one is called as the axial length of the pole. It should be seen that the axial length of the pole may be assumed as 1 to 1.5 centimeter less than the stator core length, and this stator core length we are already calculating in case of calculating the main dimension, where we are discussing about the length of stator core. So let us suppose if the length of the stator core is equals to 10 centimeter, so you can say that the axial length of the pole will be equal to 9 centimeter or 8.5 centimeter. That range will be 1 to 1.5 centimeter less than your the gross core length of the stator core. The second point will be the width of the pole, and for calculating the width of the pole, you have to understood the flux in the pole, and it should be noted that the flux in the pole is equals to 1.1 to 1.5 times the flux. Hence, the area of the pole is equal to flux in the pole per flux density in the pole, and this flux density is having a value 1.4 to 1.6 Weber per meter square. Therefore, the area of the pole is equals to width of the pole into axial length of the pole, and this axial length of the pole. Now, the axial length of the pole is equals to the gross core length into the stacking factor. The stacking factor may be assumed as 0.93 to 0.95. Hence, you can say that the width of the pole is equals to the area of the pole per net length, axial length of the pole. So this is all about the axial length of the pole as well as the width of the pole. After that, we have the height of the pole. The height of the pole is decided based on MMF to provided on the pole by the field winding at full load. Hence, it is required to find out the MMF to be provided on the pole at full load before finding the height of the pole. So you can say that for calculation of height of the pole, you have to calculate the armature MMF per pole, you have to calculate the MMF per pole in the field system. And it can be seen that the MMF per pole in the field system is equals to 1.722 armature MMF per pole. And the armature MMF per pole can be calculated with the help of the formula, that is armature MMF per pole is equals to 1.35 IPH TPH kW upon P, where IPH is current per phase, which we have to calculate it in earlier. TPH is turns per phase, kW is the constant value 0.955, and P is the poles. So once you can calculate the value of armature MMF per pole, that is ATA, you can easily calculate the value of field MMF, and this field MMF AFTL is equals to 1.7 times to the armature MMF per pole. Hence, the height of the pole is calculated based upon the height of the field coil and hence upon the insulation. Now here we can calculate the axial length of the pole, we are calculate the width of the pole, and also we are calculate the height of the pole. Now we have a small derivation on the height of the coil, and for that thing let us assume that these are the terminologies that we can use. And here we have IF is the current in the field coil, AF is the area in the field conductor, TF is turns, LMT length of mean turn, SF copper space factor, HF height of the field coil, DF depth of the field coil, rho is specific resistance of the copper or the resistivity of the copper, and QF is equals to heat generated per unit volume. Now, what we have to do, the first thing is that the watts radiated from the field coil is equals to external surface centimeter square into watt centimeter square, and which will be given by the formula, that is external periphery of the field coil into height of the field coil into watts system. So we have the formula, that is the total loss in the coil is IF square into RF, where IF is the field coil current and RF is the field resistance. This will be equals to IF square as it is. Now we can change the value of the resistance of the field coil as rho R is equals to rho L upon A. So here it will be rho into LMT into TF upon AF. The copper area is equals to AF into TF is equals to SF, HF and DF. So AF is equals to SF, DH, SF into TF. So when you go through that system, you can see that your loss dissipated in the field coil is equals to twice into LMT into HF into QF. So this is the main formula where you can see the loss dissipated from the field coil is given by the relation twice into LMT into HF into QF. Again, you can calculate it on the three way. Hence, the main you can get your HF, that is the height of the field coil, is equals to ATF, that is field coil MMF into 10 raised to power 4 multiplied by SF multiplied by DF multiplied by QF. The depth of the field coil is assumed 3 to 5 centimeter. Copper space factor, that is SF, is equals to 0.6 to 0.8. Loss per meter square may be assumed as a 700 to 750 RPM. Hence, the height of the coil is equal to HF plus height of the pole shoe plus height taken by the insulation. So from where you can calculate the height of the pole. It is clear? So the next point will be the design of the field winding. Generally, the exciter voltage will be in the range of 110 volt to 440 volt in case of a three-phase synchronous machine. 15 to 20% of the voltage is kept as drop in the field controller. Hence, you can say that voltage per coil VC is equal to 0.8 to 0.85 exciter voltage. Number two, suitable value of depth of the coil should be taken. Number three, the length of mean turn in the field coil is estimated from the dimension of the pole and the depth of the field winding. The length of mean turn is given by the formula 2 LP plus pi dF plus 2I, where Ti is called as the insulation thickness per pole. The cross-sectional area of the conductor can be calculated as resistance of the field coil RF. As we know, it will be rho L upon A. So it will be rho into LMT into TF into AF. So here rho is the specific resistance, LMT is the length of mean turn, TF is the turns per phase, and AF is the area. So we are all dealing with the field coil system. So already the terminologies are like AF, TF, LF. The field current can be estimated by assuming a suitable value of the current density in the field winding. Generally, the value of the current density may be taken as 3.5 to 4 centimeter amperes per mm square. Hence, the field current is equal to rho f into AF, where rho f is called as the specific resistivity or the specific resistance, and AF is called as the area of the field winding. The number of the turns in the field winding TF is equals to full load field ampere turns upon field current. So TF is equal to AFTL upon IF, where AFTL is equals to MMF required in the field winding and IF is the field current. The height of the field winding is equals to HF, resistance of the field winding is equals to RF, and the copper loss in the field winding is equals to IF square into RF. So this is all about the design of the field winding system, where what we have to do, we have to calculate the axial core length, we have to calculate the width of the pole, we have to calculate the height of the pole, we have to calculate the copper loss in the field winding, we have to calculate the resistance of the field winding, we have to calculate the height of the field winding, we have to calculate the resistance, the field current, and all these things. So these are all things that we can combine together in case of a field winding design. So generally we can say that the field winding design is basically comprises of these main things, that is the cross sectional area of the conductor, the resistance of the field winding, turns of the field winding, height of the field winding, resistance in the field winding, and copper loss in the field winding. So I hope you can understand about all the basic concepts behind the field system adopted in case of a salient pole synchronous machine. You can go through this video, watch this video carefully, and if you have any suggestions or a comment related to the particular video, you can comment me or drop a message. Your comments, your suggestions are always welcome, and I will try my best to resolve all the issues or all the concepts. So I will try my best. You should watch this video carefully, and in the next video we'll come with another topic that will be related to the synchronous machine. So for that thing, thank you so much to all who are watching my video. Thank you so much.